Hey everybody, Mac to Monster, back with Marvel Heroes. And we got Psylocke up on the chopping block. And last I looked in the test center, she was looking really good, so hopefully that carried over. Probably did. And Wolverine's looking pretty good too, if you're wondering. A lot better than he was before. He was looking really bad. They both started off terrible, and then she started looking better, and then she looked really, really good. Um, and then he was looking okay, and it looks like he ported over even better. So not sure what they did to him, but they definitely seem to be listening a lot better than they were listening before. So that's a good sign. And then she comes with her standard costume here, but a little bit skimpy here, but she doesn't need armor. She's pretty good. And starting out, she starts off pretty strong in stats. Not sure how strong they will grow. They should grow pretty good. She was able to survive adequately enough in melee when I was testing her on Test Center, so hopefully that stayed around. And then we got a new resource in this Psi Energy here, and that's going to be working with Psionic Constructs. So I'm going to go left to right. And you also have Spirit as well, so you'll have Spirit spending powers and Psionic Energy spending powers. And even though this is worked into pips here, you can see that they got pip bars. It's actually 1,200 points. So there is basic attacks in Psionic Construct abilities as well as Psionic Energy attacks. And the first Psi Strike here is a Psionic Energy, and this is basically like Daredevil's triple strike, where it does 3 consecutive strikes, and each strike does more and more damage, and it uses Psi Energy. It's a very strong attack. However, you can only use about 6 seconds worth of attack, so it's very limited. But it does hit like a truck, and it hits really, really hard. Can't state that enough. The next ability in the tree is Crossbow Construct, and this is a basic attack. So this generates psionic energy. As you can see, it gets 25 psi energy per hit. However, you have a 1,200 psionic energy pool, so it's going to take quite a few shots to build up that pool. Also, it generates over time, don't forget. Tsunami Slash, this is another melee psi energy spender. This one takes 400 energy. But it's got a stun and it hits a very big cone in front of you. Very wide swath. It's about 30 range. So it's hitting, well, if this was her, it would hit to about here. It's a very, very big cone. And then we got Psi Knife. This is a basic melee attack. Instead of this was ranged, this is going to be melee. This also generates Psi energy as well per hit. So that's going to help you generate your Psi energy. If you're going to be psionically burning the Psi energy, you're going to want to use one of these 2 maneuvers to generate extra Psi energy. Telekinetic Prowess. This is a passive that's going to be used by a couple different builds. If you're using mental damage, if you're using psionic energy, you're going to want to consider this in your tree, because not only does it increase psionic energy generation effects, it also does, if you do mental damage, it does damage over time. If you do a melee damage, it gives you melee, it gives you melee damage rating if you hit with Psi Knife. So if you're using Psi Knife, you get some extra melee damage rating. And then if you use Psionic Bow, which is down here, you get some range damage. This one, I know we're skipping one here, but this one is one of those charge up and do extra damage. And it does cost a very large amount of psionic energy, so it's kind of rough to say if it's worth using. I'm not a big fan of these charge ups. They take a while to charge up, and then if you miss, you lose your whole charge up. So it's kind of eh. And then finally, we got a movement power in the tree, which is Psi Thrust. If you're going to be Psi burning as well, this might be your movement power to use, because when you hit an enemy with this, your next attack also generates 75 Psy energy, so it's another way to generate some extra Psy energy. The second tree is Ninja Assassin. This is going to be your physical. We went from mental damage, now we're going into physical damage. So she's a split. She is not only a hybrid class where she has ranged and melee, but she also has physical and mental damage. So it's definitely going to be a slightly more complicated character to build and build accurately. She starts off with ninjutsu strike, and this is kind of a nice basic attack. It has physical damage, and its base damage is plus 50% for 6 seconds when you use a stealth power. So not only that, but she also has stealth ability. It's going to be a very, very complex and diverse character that you can build around. Shadow Dash, this is just a basic dash with a knockdown if you hit the target, and it costs spirit. Falling Lotus Strike, this is a nice ability. You know, it basically charges you to the target area. Wherever you put your mouse is where you're going to go to, but you go twirling through the air. It's kind of a cool ability. Deadly Assassin, this is nice. It gives you an evade chance, some crit rating, some crit damage rating, and defense rating. And it actually gets a lot as you get up through the levels, so it's very, 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 very nice for us melee ranged people. Kiritsu Gomen, this will be another melee attack. It also has plus 50% base damage for 6 seconds when you use a stealth power. It uses spirit damage. It's a good ability also. This one's kind of like X-Slash from Nightcrawler. So you'll burn spirit like crazy, though. It has a high spirit cost, and you can't upkeep it. There's nothing that lets you upkeep it. It's not upkeepable like Nightcrawler's is. Psionic Projection. This is one of your stealth movements. This is awesome because it leaves a clone of you, which counts as a summon. The summon lasts for 6 seconds. It gives you stealth duration based on how many points you have. It has health and defense based on how much health you have, and it taunts. So it acts as a diversion for you. It's very, 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 very good ability, especially if you're going to be melee. You start getting too much attention from stuff, you can use this. You go into stealth, you break aggro of everything, the clone picks up aggro of everything, and now you're counting as stealth for some of these other stealth moves here. Shadow Step also puts you into stealth, but it also breaks crowd control. This is more of the PvP type move. Katana Typhoon. Melee AoE, swirl your katana and a blur of deadly steel slicing through enemies. This is doing AoE damage, physical damage, and also this will make your projection do damage as well. It has a 2-second cooldown, and you can use it while stealth. It won't break stealth. It works. Not a big fan because of the cooldown. It doesn't do enough damage, especially with the cooldown, and it's got the spirit cost. If it didn't have a cooldown, you could kind of make it a cool tie-in with the projections, but the cooldown really limits your use of it. Assassinate, another great idea. You can only use it while stealthed, and once you use it, you break stealth, which really limits its use. So it didn't need a cooldown, but effectively it has a 4-second cooldown because you can only stealth really, well, 2 times every 4 seconds. Well, not even. You can use this to get an extra cool stealth in, but really once every 4 seconds you can stealth, and if you put points into it, you get one kind of big hit. It's not that big of a hit. It's not anywhere near big of a hit to really make it useful. It's a nice dash to get to someplace because when you shadow step, you dash away. You can use this to go back to the target. But putting points into it, it seems like a waste. It would have to do probably 10 times the damage to really make it feel like you did assassinate something. Moving over to telepathy tree, we got Psylocke Assault. This is a very nice damage over time with a slow and the snare on it, with also a weaken. So enemies deal less damage, they move less, and they attack slower. And it's got a good duration, 6 seconds. Very strong ability. Psyblast. This is a basic single target minor AoE on hit that restores spirit also. Kind of like Scarlet Witch. This would be kind of like Emma Frost. So there's definitely a lot of powers borrowed all over the place. But putting them all together really makes her unique. She's not like Taskmaster. She's definitely I like her. I like her a lot actually. As long as she carried over from Test Center in the way she was. Psionic Resilience. This is something that's phenomenally awesome, depending on how it carried over. And I won't know until I hit 60. It gives you the ability to see enemies on the radar, which is nice. It gives you defense rating and double defense rating against mental attacks. That's okay. Gives you dodge rating. Never hurts. The big key here is you and your allies regenerate health per second for 3 seconds every time you hit with a mental power. That's the big thing there. It's starting to go back into a support type abilities coming into characters again, which, you know, I gotta applaud the devs for starting to think outside of just DPSing again. They really gotta start doing stuff like this again, like Colossus being a support person, having support builds. This is a support type healing type class now because it's your allies regenerate health, not just you. And this includes your pet, by the way. The summoned pet will regenerate health. They need to start doing things like this all over the place and give characters and players the ability to be a support class, a tank class, and a DPS class as well. This is definitely a strong step in the right direction, so I golf clap all the devs for starting to do things like this. This is smart. Psionic Vortex. This is your basic implosion type ability. Wherever you put your mouse and hit the button, anything within range will get sucked into the center. And it does a good amount of damage and makes enemies take more damage while it happens. Psycrush. This is alright. If enemies are weakened or slowed, they'll take extra damage from the Psycrush. One problem with Psycrush is it costs spirit to cast. It does decent damage. It just doesn't do enough damage, especially for the spirit cost. You're probably better off going with Psybolt to build spirit if you have spirit issues. Ethereal Butterflies. This is the signature move. At first it seems like a really bad signature move because it does mental damage per missiles, fires 25 missiles. It actually costs spirit. I don't know why these signatures cost spirit, but they do. 25-second cooldown. It actually does really good damage. It's single target damage really. It says area. It doesn't do a big area hit when it does hit. However, the fact that you can do this while moving or charging or jumping or stealthing and all that kind of stuff makes it a much better signature. So in other words, you can hit the button and the butterflies will fly, and as long you can keep moving around and they'll keep coming off. You don't lose any ability. It becomes a much better. At first you had to stand still and fire them all off. That really sucked. And then finally, Psycho Blast. This is a wide-angle cone that goes pretty good distance, and it pulses. So it used to be the channeled, but now it just does bzz, 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 and every time it bzz, it does the damage. And enemies who are vulnerable or weakened receive 50% extra damage and are knocked back and stunned for 1.5 seconds. It's a pretty nice attack. It's great for clearing trash. You'll burn your spirit down pretty easily. And that's the basic trees. Her Psionic Maelstrom, phenomenal. Basically, mental damage over time. It slows 50% attack speed and movement speed. It lasts 20 seconds. It gives you damage rating, and it generates psi energy all at the same time. It's like mini god mode, and everything dies. That's basically what happens. It's probably getting up there for one of the top ultimates out there. It can definitely compete with Storm and Miss Marvel and Hawkeye's. It's a lot of damage over time. It's a big snare and a lot of extra damage. It's awesome. That's all I have to say. And that's Psylocke. So she's looking pretty good. I have to get her to 60 and see if she's still as good as she was. And I have a feeling she is. And we'll go from there. So I hope it helped. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to everyone later.